Hi everybody, Happy New Year. It's MA, and I thought I'd just give you a little show and tell about what I'm working with so far this month, and we'll probably continue through January. The funny thing is, I tell myself I don't have a seasonal rotation of decks, and I went and pulled things out, and then when I looked at what I used last year in January, they were actually the same thing. So go figure. So I ended up with 5 decks, and I'm trying to use them in a very specific way. So let's start with the deck I'm using for my daily pull, which generally I'm going to use like a Smith weight, either a standard deck or a variation on a standard deck. And apparently in January, I like to use the Solara Occulto Meliora deck. There's something about, even though I think the colors are more fall and spring-like, I just tend to use this in January. And I think part of that is I struggle with reverse sad, and I need to really work on embracing the return of the light and bringing the light in and accepting, the coming months of the summer. So it's a weird thing for me, but yeah, this is a pretty much slightly, I don't want to call it monochromatic, but the color scheme of all the cards is very consistent. And my daily draws, I'm doing what in one of my study groups is called a case study, where I'm bringing the same question or topic to the tarot every day for a month. And what that is doing for me is unlocking different layers of meaning in these cards that I already know. So that's why I would use a familiar deck for these daily cards to just continue to build layers on the Smith-Waite associations and stuff that I already have. So yeah, that's my daily draw, Solara Occulto. Then I mentioned the Tarot Diagnosis Shannon Knight that I was thinking of, or had just downloaded their A Year with the Wheel of Fortune guided journal or tarot journey for 2026. And I did decide to work with that because I'm in a year of transformation, coming out of a lot of prolonged situations that culminated in, the loss of several people close to me. I'm heading into retirement territory. A lot is changing, and I'm really feeling the Wheel of Fortune this year, and I really wanted to embrace it more than any other card I've drawn about the new year or my birthday related card of the year. I am all about that Wheel of Fortune this year. And it turns out when I pulled a pair of Tarot and Oracle to use for the month of January, they were the same ones I used last year, and I will apologize in advance. They are both currently not available. Or at least not from the primary seller. So apparently in January, I love to work with the Spirit Keepers Tarot. And oh my goodness, I'm getting all the tags mixed up. But I think it's Moonflower Moments who's doing the Back to the Roots tag and project. And I think one of the things I'm really working with tarot for, besides this Wheel of the Year inquiry, is this kind of like spiritual, I don't know what to call it. It's a little bit seeking, it's a little bit scab picking in the continued healing and recovery from spiritual trauma. It's the interest in, what does that mean to me right now? I've always considered myself an atheist, and I think I still do, and yet look how I spend all my time doing all this research on spiritual systems and world religions. And that's just really interesting to me. And I find that this deck, especially paired with the giant Book of Maps guidebook, is just more layers on that. And also because in responding to the journal questions from the Wheel of the Year, Year of the Wheel of Fortune project, I'm pulling 2 tarot cards and an oracle in the center. And I love that with Annabelle's deck, there's one of the trigrams from the I Ching on each card. So if I'm pulling 2 of these cards, I'm getting a hexagram. So I'm layering on just a very baseline, simplistic level of I Ching onto the journal responses, and I'm just fascinated with that. I Ching for me also rolls into John Cage and aleatory music and poetry and all kinds of stuff. So lots, I'm enjoying the layers with this one. And the Oracle I use it with also, speaking of things that are slightly uncharacteristic, I originally bought this to use with the Mother Tarot, which is the Modern Mary Oracle deck, which was from Redfish Tarot, who I can't really find that they have an active presence anywhere, and the Etsy shop seems closed. The kind of modern backs. And for whatever reason, this and the Spirit Keepers Tarot really have nice synchronicities together. And I'm really just enjoying this pairing. It will not pain me at all to spend a month with it. And if, in fact, Julie over at Peekaboo Rose did a video recently about kind of rolling into the new year and no buy, low buy, and some thoughts and kind of prompts or hints. And one of them was about presence. And that really hit home for me as something I've been trying to sort out in my mind, but I think she really nailed it, which is, and I'll get it wrong, but what to me it triggered was using the decks that I really want to use, having them in front of me and being with those decks without thinking of the noise coming from the shelf saying, but you're not using me, what about me? And kind of shutting that out and just be with what I'm using. And that's helped me relax more into these extended uses of pairs, even though that means there's some decks that are not getting touched. So probably more on that thought a little later. Okay, so that's 3 decks. The fourth one, I think I mentioned, I've started kind of, I don't know, I guess reading about the Thoth a little more. I have some Thoth adjacent or redone decks. And this is the first time I kind of finally said, I'm just going to spend some time looking at this one. So LOL, this is my bedtime reading. I have been reading this book, which I do recommend. You know, I wouldn't have wanted to pick this up a few years ago, but honestly, he's really funny. Lanmulo Duquette, yeah, in case you can't see the whole cover. He's really funny. I think he makes this a little more digestible. There's lots of quotes from Crowley in here. You know, I have lots of mixed feelings about Mr. Crowley. But I'm enjoying it. And because I'm extra, I've been putting stickers on the chapter headings because arts and crafts, even when it's minimal. So yeah, this is my, I don't want to call it study. I think it's more exploration. It's more ruminating. It's more looking at it, reading about it, just unlocking like a little bit of a layer, just to see what's going on here and test the waters. So that's my light bedtime reading stack. And then deck number 5, we're going to see how this goes, but I pulled out the Cantigee Oracle again. I got this over 3 years ago. And when I first got it, I kind of gung-ho said I'm going to do all the cards in order and go through all 52 cards in the order of the Wheel of the Year. I totally lost steam. I'm trying a different approach this time because the book is so good. The creative prompts especially, even though I did not get through too many of them, were very useful to me. And so I'm really interested in re-engaging with this. And I decided instead of going in order, I'm going to shuffle and pull a card and set aside. I decided 7 p.m. Sunday evening is the Cantigee hour, I'm going to call it. And just put that on the calendar and spend that time with the card. I pulled the card already for this week, and I got the Voice of the Moon, which I especially adored receiving this because it's the full moon right now. So yeah, so those are my 5 decks. We'll see how it goes. I'm not limited to these. anything else that calls to me for some reason, I'm free to pick up off the shelf. I do use the Shining Tribe once a month in a study group. But I don't read with that too regularly. And there's just a couple of other add-on little practice things. I really feel like I need to embrace the light in so many ways. So one of the things I was doing this morning is like washing off this, the candle glass and getting this yellow they call it a 7-day candle. These usually last a month for me. I'm going to be carving and dressing this candle. So I'm not sure when I'll start it. Today's Sunday. This would have been a good day to light it, but I will light it when I feel I'm ready to light it. And yeah, it's about bringing in the light and also the creative inspiration and just like something warm and positive. I think the positivity is what I need to bring in. And association with that, I think I've mentioned these before, but I want to give you a little demo. So I don't know if you've ever worked with what is called self-igniting incense. And these are more magical incenses. They burn for a very short time. They're not meant to, like, you know, light a stick and have it going. Please ignore the silly, this is not cacao. It is the Deep Sun powdered incense. And I have 2 sources for these. I've tried making my own, but getting enough of the powder, it just isn't worth it. So I purchased them from both, if you're in the US, Otherworldly Waxes in Beacon, New York. That's my magical mentor and friend, Amy. And then the other place I've purchased them from in person is the Veiled Crow in, I think they were in Warwick, Rhode Island, and they've moved. They're somewhere else now, but they both do mail order as well. And I think Original Botanica also has some that are maybe a little more commercial. So the way these work is you take a really small amount because they make a lot of smoke and you don't want this burning for a long time. And I just realized I don't have the lighter over here, so please hold. Getting the matches. Okay, so you need a fireproof container. Because I'm a rebel, I do put them in an oyster shell, which I then place in a metal bowl. So again, a tiny bit, like half a teaspoon tops, right? And then you try to light a match and it breaks in half. Here, I'm just gonna do it in the candle. Okay, so the incense will light. And then what you do not want to do is blow it out because that will scatter things. So I either kind of fan it gently or put a top over it, or sometimes I'll just damp it down, the flame down a little with the spoon. And then it makes a butt ton of smoke. And if you have it in something like this, you can carry it around. You can just leave it on the altar. Yeah, so that's my, I guess I'm going to say Deep Sun is my incense of the month in order to go along with this bringing in the light theme. So that's what's going on for January. Thanks for watching. And I've been watching a lot of people's what I'm using in January decks and really enjoying it. So thank you. See you. Bye.